Welcome back, family. Before the video starts, I just want to thank all my channel members for the support. Sorry, but doing this is really stupid. Let's see what he did. Hey, get the F out of here. What is he doing?
You guys might think that the people yelling at this guy are overreacting. In reality, they definitely aren't. They have every right to do so.
Yeah.
The video that you guys just watched doesn't have a lot of inherent context to it. It shows a man approaching what appear to be a pack of wolves. People in the background are yelling at him to get the F out of there, and it looks as though he's spraying them with some sort of substance. When I first watched this, I thought perhaps this guy was in danger and the wolves had approached him, but it turns out I was wrong. He had approached the wolves on his own volition.
Wow.
The incident here took place in November of 2025, so not too long ago. And after essentially taunting the wolves and retreating, the wolves started coming towards him, and that's when he sprayed them with what was likely bear spray. For those that don't know, Yellowstone is home to the gray wolf, and while they might look like domestic huskies, they definitely are not. Do not approach them, they are wild animals. So I really do think it's fair for these people to yell at him because, realistically, he is being an idiot. Justice here was also kind of served. He was cited by park rangers, so at least there's that.
So Britney Spears owned this house, believed it was haunted, and sold it with everything still inside to Brittany Murphy, who would then go on to die inside of the house.
Wow.
Maybe this is all just coincidence, but it's still incredibly eerie when you hear the full story. So this is the mansion that Britney Spears moved into in 2001. And according to Britney's former makeup artist, during the time that she was living there, she had some type of spiritual transformation and invited someone over who claimed to be a spiritual healer. But after this supposed spiritual healer left, something didn't feel right to her. Britney told her former makeup artist that she thought the spiritual healer may have opened some type of portal, and she claimed that there were evil spirits inside of the house trying to harm her by doing things like pushing her down the stairs. The entire situation scared Britney so badly that she left the home immediately and never returned. She then sold the house along with everything inside of it to Brittany Murphy, who would then go on to die in that house under very suspicious circumstances. Her husband Simon would also die 5 months after her in the same room. Now, after Britney's death, Simon gave an interview stating that his wife tried to avoid the house at all costs. He said that he felt that maybe the property was unlucky, and before her death, he had planned to move his wife and his mother to New York City. Then, after Simon's death, his mother was quoted saying, "All I know is that before Simon's death, he was having hallucinations that things were crawling out of his skin." Now, a lot of people believe that this can all be attributed to toxic mold poisoning. Maybe the home was filled with black mold, which, when exposed to for a prolonged period of time, can cause hallucinations, paranoia, insomnia. It can also cause breathing problems. And the ultimate cause of Britney and Simon's death was listed as community-acquired pneumonia. But the coroner's office said that toxic mold wasn't the case. They instead said that Britney's death was due to an iron deficiency and intoxication from prescription medications, which likely weakened her immune system and then led to a fatal bacterial infection. Simon's cause of death was nearly identical. So if this was the case, was Britney Spears right? Was there something unexplainable inside of that house?
These are 10 weird things you didn't know about Napoleon. Firstly, Napoleon was overly obsessed with taking hot baths, often sitting in a tub for multiple hours every day, writing letters and giving orders while servants kept refilling it with hot water, even having a portable emergency bath for active military operations. Next, Napoleon would sometimes disguise himself as a civilian just to hear what people are saying about him. He would walk around France listening to people, having conversations, or sometimes even debating soldiers about himself. But he gets weirder. Napoleon was extremely obsessed with cologne. Using it so much, it was reported he ordered 50 bottles of cologne every month. At one point, even drinking tiny drops, believing it had benefits. Napoleon also barely slept, only 3 to 4 hours every night, thinking too much sleep made you a weak man. Along with eating extremely fast, finishing meals in under 10 minutes, thinking eating was a waste of time. He also had a severe licorice addiction, always keeping some in his pocket wherever he went. Eating so much of it, his teeth would often be stained black. Beyond that, he would get way too focused during battles, completely ignoring danger, where gunshots and cannonballs would reportedly hit near him and he just kept giving orders. Or also completely forgetting to eat meals, where soldiers literally had to hand or feed him food while he worked.
Yeah, man, that boy Napoleon was a workaholic.
Scientists just figured out how to reverse aging with AI, and this is a massive breakthrough. We can now reprogram any human cell back to age 20. Heart cells, skin cells, brain cells, all reset to their biological prime. But here's the wildest part. The technology to do this has existed since 2012. It won the Nobel Prize. But the real breakthrough wasn't possible until this year, when they supercharged it with AI. It's a wild story. So in 2006, scientists discovered Yamanaka factors. They're proteins that can basically convert any normal cell into a universal stem cell. Now, this discovery was a huge deal because these stem cells are basically like magic healers. If you have torn muscle tissue, you can inject these stem cells into the area and they will turn into the youthful muscle cells that you need. So Yamanaka factors were an insane breakthrough because they allowed any human to turn any cell you already have into a magic healer. But there was one big problem. It turns out the original Yamanaka factors weren't very good at this stem cell conversion. They could do it, but they just weren't reliable enough to make a product. Enter OpenAI, and this is where things get crazy. OpenAI designed a special AI model built specifically to create new proteins. Think of it like ChatGPT, but for protein engineering. So they took all the original Yamanaka research and gave it to this AI model to go ham on improving it. And guess what happened? Their new version is 50 times more effective than the original. They tested it on 50-year-old cells, and it successfully started repairing 30% of the cells in just 7 days. And this isn't science fiction, this actually happened. And it sounds crazy, but in a few years, humans will be able to take a shot that literally reverses the age of their cells. Shout out science.
Dude, that has got to be one of the craziest scientific breakthroughs. That means potentially in like the next 25 to 50 years, there's going to be chances of people reverse aging themselves, which is absolutely insane. Obviously, it's only going to probably be for like the super rich and wealthy people.
This might be the scariest moment caught on air. In 2008, there was a Japanese game show where two players would stand back to back on a concrete platform in the mud and see who could push the other off the platform first. There was one point in an episode where they approached a host named Tatsuchi and asked him if he wanted to play. He decided to go up there and he figured he would immediately lose, so he went and he dived head first into the mud. Now, the horrifying thing that nobody realized is when he did this, he immediately snapped his neck and paralyzed his entire body forever. Also, hi, I'm Grace. Can I be your horror girly? The people on the show thought he was just making a scene, trying to be funny, not getting out of the water, but in reality, he was submerged head first and he could not breathe. Instead of helping them, they egged him on. They pushed his face into the mud more, they wouldn't let him up for air, and this went on for an excruciatingly long time. They eventually caught on to the fact that this was not a game and they pulled him out of the water immediately. Thank God he survived, but he was unfortunately paralyzed forever because of this. Over the years, he has made the most of it though, and it seems like he has lived a happy life. He even still supports the game show.
Dude, that is just crazy. He thought it was just all fun and games. He was trying to be a little bit funny, dove head first, and then completely ruined his life. No. Dude. That's a sad story, man.
This scientist is now saying that they have now officially found the way to cool off the entire planet. So there's a professor from Purdue University that has now helped create the whitest paint ever made. It reflects almost all sunlight instead of absorbing it. This means that any surfaces that are coated in this paint stay noticeably cooler. That part alone isn't even the crazy part of the story. Somebody took that paint and they ran a hypothetical experiment, and they found that if you coated just 1% of the Earth's surface with it, the math suggests that it would actually cool off the entire planet. 1% of the Earth's surface sounds incredibly small until you realize that that would require 139 billion gallons of this white paint. At this type of scale, you're not even talking about just buildings and rooftops anymore. You're talking about entireties of land, infrastructure, deserts, and cities. Dude, this idea has so many different people split directly in the middle on opinions, because on one side you have scientists calling it a clever example of geoengineering, obviously reflecting sunlight away from the planet instead of trapping heat for climate change. And then on the other side, people are saying that it crosses a line because once you start painting the Earth for climate change, you're not just solving climate change, you're controlling the planet. I really want to know that if this actually worked out and we had an option to do it, would we actually do it?
Yeah, I feel like it's a good idea, but I don't know how I'd feel walking around a city where everything is white. I feel like I'd be going insane.
Every American kid who's ever taken school pictures.
Oh, the Life Touch.
We're all in the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Is that not crazy?
That's insane.
Because yeah, the company Life Touch is connected to the guy, I guess, who runs the company or who founded the company, is a part of the files, and he's been there so many times. They mentioned bro's name so many times, and it's connected to him. So then it makes you think, what about all the kids who didn't buy their pictures?
Yeah.
Where did the pictures go? Think about it. How many times did you take school pictures and you didn't buy them?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get them? Did they go to your house?
Yeah.
They didn't go to my house. So where do they go?
Or even if you do buy them, it's like
they make a copy.
Yeah, there's a file on a computer somewhere.
So where did the other ones go?
Yeah,
we never questioned it. Our parents never questioned it. So now it's just a bunch of pictures of kids
from
literally
kindergarten all the way to your senior high school.
So wait, let's even go a step further. Where does that kid live?
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure they have access to all that shit. They know that I go to this school. So now they already narrowed it down to he lives in California. Oh, and then it's that school. There's only one of those schools in that district. That's what I mean, bro. It's such a crazy thing of you have a never-ending cycle of child pictures.
Yeah.
That these creepy niggas can probably
use
for whatever the hell they want. So it's
crazy
wild that
as hell.
they're over here wondering why we all care about the Epstein files because we're a part of it.
Yeah.
What
all
the hell?
Anyone who's had their school picture taken is a part of that.
So then it goes into this thing of like, are we all just gonna keep just sitting here being like, yeah, well, the new Spider-Man's coming out, and then we're just gonna care about that, and then these people we know right now they're eating babies, and then we're just continuing paying them money every year. Every year they just take taxes from us. They take our money. It goes to them. They pay for whatever they want. They do their little parties and their nasty, crazy shit, and they're just like, yeah, these people. They're all just a bunch of cattle.
Hey, yeah, I mean, the school picture thing is crazy because there's like damn near millions of schools around the whole US. So I don't know what they would do with like damn near billions of pictures of children. Maybe like, I don't know, single some of them out to traffic or something, which is crazy to even think about.
McDonald's isn't just fast food. It's something much bigger. And most people never question it. Look at the golden arches. They say it's just an M, but symbols like that don't just happen by accident. This isn't just a restaurant. It's everywhere. Every city, every country, almost like it was designed to reach everyone. They tell you it's 100% beef, but millions of burgers every single day. And you never see where any of it comes from. There's a process behind it. Mass production, closed facilities, things you were never meant to see. And then there's the formula: salt, sugar, fat, engineered perfectly to keep you coming back. It's not just food, it's habit, routine, something built into your life without you realizing it. And by the time you notice, it's already too late because you've been eating it your whole life.
You're already infected. Brain rot reels.
I mean, McDonald's is a really big company because for those who don't know, like I've lived in Jamaica for my first like 10 to 11 years of my life, and I knew about McDonald's and Jamaica didn't even have a McDonald's. You know what I'm trying to say? And I came to the US, of course, and McDonald's is on like every single block of every single everything. Like you can't drive like 10 miles without seeing a McDonald's. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's kind of crazy how it's so globalized, but yet it's like one of the worst foods you could eat. Prince Andrew no longer exists. I think I heard about this story. I think that actually his family disowned him because he was in the Epstein files. That's what I think happened. I don't think he died or anything.
Guys, Prince Andrew no longer exists. Last night, the King of England shocked everyone by not only stripping away his brother's Prince title, so now bro is just Andrew, but he also kicked him out of his house. Wow. This is unprecedented. Here is where Drew was living for the past 2 decades. A 30-room royal mansion in Windsor where he signed a 75-year lease on and even assembled the Sus Avengers at in 2006. Bro really invited Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell to his royal lodge. Today, 2 of them are in jail and 1 of them is dead. Oh, and as for rent at this mansion, according to his contract, quote, rent means 1 peppercorn if demanded per annum. How is bro paying peppercorns for rent? Now, the reason this is all happening now is because this month, not only was Virginia Giuffre's memoir released, where she wrote that she had sex with him on 3 separate occasions as a teenager, but also emails came out showing that Andrew was still in contact with Epstein after he said that they were no longer friends. Virginia's family wrote, today an ordinary American girl from an ordinary American family brought down a British prince. Wow. Andrew is still 8th in line for the throne.
Like, you would think because they're elite, because they have all this wealth and quote unquote power and responsibility, that they would actually use it to better the lives of people and better themselves and just better the world in general. But a lot of the times, a lot of these people are just normal like us. Like, there's really no difference between them, like, you know what I'm saying? Or even sometimes worse than us.
So this blind guy was on the 78th floor of the World Trade Center during 9/11 when he felt this massive boom above him. As Michael Hinkson just sat there really confused, everyone around him started screaming, and the guy next to him frantically told him, "You don't understand, we gotta get out of here right now." But as everyone was freaking out, Michael's guide dog, Roselle, just casually woke up from her nap. Seeing how calm she was, Michael felt comforted, and even though he was the only blind guy on their floor, he just started calming everyone down and had them follow him and Roselle to the nearest staircase. Due to his disability, Michael had actually carefully memorized the building's layout as well as the emergency protocols. Although people kept panicking and wanting to give up, Roselle would comfort them with kisses, and Michael would say, "If I can make it, you can too." It ended up taking them over an hour to descend all 1,500 steps, but right as they made it outside, the South Tower collapsed. Although Michael was suffocating and terrified, he just followed the pull of his harness, fully trusting Roselle. And incredibly, she ended up quickly leading him through all the debris into a nearby subway, saving his life. When Michael later tried to get Roselle therapy for what she had been through, he was told that she was just doing her job and had no idea the danger they were in. Roselle went on to become a minor celebrity and happily lived with Michael until she died 10 years later.
These are 3 prehistoric animals that gave humans horrifying nightmares. First is the cave hyena. You could be out hunting with your group where they would stalk you from far away, as they would follow you for miles without you ever noticing they were there, waiting for you to lead them back to home base, bringing 30 to 40 more of their friends to corner your exits, going in one by one and costing you and your group to give up their lives. Next is the short-faced bear, where they stood twice the size of early humans and could chase you down faster than you think. They had legs longer than the average bear and could run faster than horses, meaning if they spot you nearby, they could catch you in seconds without ever giving you the chance to call for help. But worst of all is the Megalania lizard, where they could camouflage in the forest and ambush you in a matter of seconds. They would bite through your body using their venom to slow you down, where even if you escape, the venom would weaken down your muscles and force you to a complete stop, giving you no choice but to watch them slowly creep up to you and swallow down your entire body.
The Warrens Occult Museum holds many famous haunted objects, but these are some of the lesser known objects in their collection. The toy dinosaur. This small toy was linked to the notorious possession of David Glatzel, which inspired The Conjuring 3. The Warrens said it seemed alive, often appearing in different places and even levitating. They also claimed it told the family, "You're all going to die." The pearl necklace. This delicate string of pearls looks harmless, but the Warrens said it carried dark energy. Its last owner claimed it tightened around her neck at night, leaving red marks as if invisible hands were trying to strangle her. The vampire's coffin. An old European coffin rumored to have held a modern-day vampire's body. I couldn't find too much information on this one, so if you know the story, please leave it in the comments. But the thought of a vampire is wild. The human skull for black magic. Taken from a grave desecrated by occult practitioners, this skull was used in black magic. Investigators felt violent headaches and a heavy sense of being watched whenever they were near it.
Hey guys, what's up? Check out this video. This guy wakes up and he's hearing things in his house. This guy's name is Alex. He's on TikTok and his house is extremely haunted. He goes around looking for what it is, and here in a second you'll see it. It's something, it's got pure evil, a demon or something, but you'll see it here in just a second. He's looking around. That's him over there. Now watch when he turns around. Right here in this, look, you see it? You see it right
Ew.
there? What the hell was that? Crazy, right? Look at that shit. Anyway, his name's Alex. He's on TikTok, and his house, he got it from his grandma, and it's extremely haunted. Y'all go check him out. Man, what the hell is that? Look, it even looks like it's got horns. Anyway, thank y'all for watching.
You think UFOs can be staged?
We've tried it. CIA even had this idea in their head. They were going to have Jesus appear as a vision over Havana to convince the Cubans to overthrow Castro. That was on the books. They were going to use holograms or something. That was back in the 70s. So we know how to do this kind of stuff. We could make things appear and disappear with stagecraft. What's the difference between that and a UFO sighting? Vietnamese believed in vampires, they believed in ghosts, and they exploited that. They made them appear. Maybe they've gotten that far to realize that they can create the scientific apparatus to induce a spiritual breakdown.
Yeah, they definitely could trick us and anyone else to believing whatever whatever they want to come down from the sky. We've heard about Project Bluebeam, where they wanted to trick the humanity that aliens were invading the planet and stuff. So like, you know what I'm saying? It's not anything new.
Did Building 7 collapse after just 7 hours of burning, in a way that no steel frame building anywhere in the world has ever collapsed? Professor Leroy Hulsey of the University of Alaska at Fairbanks conducted an independent study whose findings were released in 2020. Professor Hulsey found that office fires of the kind in Building 7 on 9/11 could not have produced sufficient thermal expansion to cause the crucial girder to fail. It's impossible, he found. One group of scientists did collect and test 4 samples of dust and debris collected by a Manhattan resident about 10 minutes after the collapse of the Second World Trade Center tower. In those samples, the scientists found distinctive red-gray chips full of highly energetic and thermitic material. In other words, they found traces of explosive compounds.
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about how like 9/11, the buildings collapsed because of detonations. A lot of firefighters I've heard, a lot of people that were there from interviews obviously that I've seen, they said that before the buildings collapsed, they just heard one big kind of like explosive went off and then everything just collapsed.
The reason, though, I'm told, that Donald Trump decided to bomb Iran was that the Israelis said, for the first time, if you don't bomb Iran to take out these deep bunkers, we're going to use nuclear weapons.
That's crazy.
And they had never threatened that before. And so Trump said, bombing Iran might actually save us from the start of World War III if it keeps the Israelis from using nuclear weapons.
So according to your source, the Israelis told the President of the United States that if he did not use the United States military power to bomb the nuclear facilities in Iran, Israel, acting on its own, would use nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Do you see why there's a problem with that statement, John?
Yeah.
Because they've never admitted that they've had them.
That's right.
So you're telling me that they just admitted to the President of the United States that they have nuclear weapons and we still do not have them in the IAEA treaty?
I mean, if Israeli nuclear whistleblowers are to be believed, yeah, they've had them. They started working on them in the 50s. They got them around the late 60s or the early 70s.
Yeah, honestly, I would not doubt that. My biggest thing is like, if we get thrown into a war just because one country feels upset about the next, it's like, dude, are you serious?
In fact, Canada will now allow the sale of meat from cloned animals to be sold in grocery stores with no warning labels or safety reviews, so consumers won't know which steak came from a real cow and which steak came from a cloned cow. Farmers clone animals to grow the most genetically perfect livestock. During milking or after slaughter, if they notice an animal has a particularly good yield, they'll take a tissue sample from the animal, dead or alive, and bring it to a lab where they implant the cells from the tissue sample into an unfertilized egg, and once the egg is fertilized, they implant that into a healthy female, and the animal is born as usual. Many Canadians were outraged at this change, but Health Canada essentially said, "What do you mean? The US has been doing this since 2008. In 2008, the FDA approved cloned meat and milk for sale and did not require a label. But there was a handshake agreement that farmers would label their meat or milk as cloned if they were selling it into the food supply. In 2008, there were around 600 cloned animals in the US. In 2014, an Iowa company was creating 100 cloned cows a year, and today we have no idea how much of the US's livestock is cloned or natural.
My guess, probably over 1,000. Honestly, probably over 10,000.
Bomb exploded on this plane, and you won't believe what happened next. In 2016, an incident occurred aboard a flight shortly after departure. Roughly 20 minutes after takeoff, a passenger detonated an improvised explosive device inside the aircraft, creating a hole in the fuselage and causing sudden decompression. The blast forced the attacker out of the aircraft while it was in flight. The aircraft remained structurally intact, and the pilot carried out an emergency landing. The attacker was the only person who lost his life.
Yo, that attacker is a dumbass, bro. Like, that's good that he was the only one that actually suffer the consequences of his own actions.
In 1999, Shaquille O'Neal was having lunch at a Four Seasons when he looked across the restaurant and saw four well-dressed men dining with their kids. At some point during his meal, one of the kids recognized Shaq and the whole group of children mobbed his table. Shaq, being ever respectful, began playing with the kids and answering all their questions, saying in an interview he was pretty much acting as a babysitter while their fathers had lunch. But then one of the men approached him to collect the children and said, "Hey Shaq, I want to talk to you about this company called Google," and began explaining search engines and told him you'll be able to type anything and get an answer immediately. Shaq thought that sounded pretty good and asked him where he could invest. They had a couple follow-up meetings and Shaq invested some money into the young tech company and pretty much forgot about it. Until 5 years later, when he was reading a newspaper and stumbled across an article that was talking about a company named Google that had just gone public, and he thought, I think I own some of that company. While it's never been disclosed how much Shaq invested, rumors say it was $250,000, which skyrocketed to $16.5 million. Unsurprisingly, Shaq says he wished he'd invested more.
Yeah, man, that's most people. Once anything does good, I wish I put more. But if it goes bad, they're like, damn, I wish I didn't put anything in it at all.
I tried to warn everybody, and now China's got the robots with machine guns learning how to shoot, and it's all gonna be bad, and they're gonna take over the world, man.
Sorry to interrupt, but it sounds like you're afraid my people are advancing. Instead of being a hater, you should trust us. We can help you survive.
Yo, shut the man. I don't need you to survive. The only thing you were supposed to be doing is making me pizza and wiping my ass. Man.
Well, humans too.
Yeah, see, that's the problem.
To be fair, I do think robots and AI could help us advance a lot. Like, for example, we literally heard about the AI helping humans to reverse age. I think we're personally gonna merge with AI. Like, it's gonna be like a human AI cyborg merge, and then we're just gonna take over the whole galaxy, then the whole universe.
Here are the top 10 rarest genetic traits. Number 3 on this list actually sounds pretty cool. Starting off with number 10, left-handedness. I am actually left-handed, along with 10% of the human population. Coming in at number 9, around 8% of the population has blue eyes. Number 8, red hair, found in 2% of the population. Number 7, being a psychopath. This affects around 1% of the population. Number 6, we have the cleft chin. This affects around 0.5% of the population. Polydactyly, this is having extra fingers or toes, and it's found in 0.1% of people. Heterochromia, this is where you have 2 different colored eyes. So sick, it's found in 0.04% of people. Okay, now we getting into the top 3, with number 3 being dystochiasis. This is where you have 2 layers of eyelashes, and it's found in 0.01% of people. Number 2 is not being able to feel physical pain, and this affects 1 in every million people. And coming in at number 1 for the rarest genetic trait a human can have, 1 in every 6 million people has golden blood. The blood isn't actually golden, by the way. It's just a rare blood type.
Hey man, if you could hit something and not feel pain, that means you are truly 1 in a million.
In 2023, Ryan worked out at Planet Fitness in Denver. He always went at 2 a.m. The gym was empty at that time. Ryan liked being alone. He wore a fitness tracker on his wrist. One Tuesday night, Ryan was on the treadmill. His tracker buzzed. Workout buddy detected nearby. Ryan looked around. Nobody else was there. He checked the tracker app. It showed 2 people working out. Ryan's data and someone named unknown user. The location matched perfectly. Same gym, same time. Ryan felt cold. He looked at the treadmill behind him, empty, but his tracker said someone was using it right now. Their heart rate was 145, same as Ryan's. Ryan stopped running. His heart rate dropped to 120. The other person's rate stayed at 145, still running. Ryan walked to the back treadmill. The belt was warm. Ryan left immediately. The next night he worked out at home, but his tracker still showed 2 people, both at his home gym. Ryan checked the tracker's friend list. 1 friend request pending from himself, sent 3 days ago, but Ryan never sent it. He clicked on the profile. The photo showed him running on a treadmill in a dark gym, but Ryan was sleeping when that photo was taken. The request is still pending. Ryan hasn't worked out in 2 weeks. His tracker still shows 2 people exercising every night at 2 a.m.
I mean, it might be glitched. I don't know.
Do you still feel anything from being struck by lightning?
No. That lasted just a couple days, and I was back to normal. And I used to carry a big, bulky handheld one.
And you felt metal in your teeth?
I could taste, like, you know, that metallic taste? Like, you know, if you get a cut and you suck on your blood and it tastes like iron or whatever?
Yeah.
Like that. It tasted like that for a while. Like, I can't remember now if it was 2 or 3 or 4 days, but, like, everything tasted all tinny and metally. I just feel like my legs seize up. Literally paralyzed for just a fraction of a second before trying to scramble up the bank out of the water.
Dude, that must be super scary. I wonder what happened to fish when a lightning strike hits the water. Like, do they also kind of like get electrocuted, or are they like safe?
These Super Bowl ads were really weird. The Ritz Cracker ad was about a party on an island, and these two dudes were salty that they weren't invited until Scarlett Johansson invited them. Then they weren't mad anymore and joined the party. It seems like they're saying that we're just salty we weren't invited to the parties too. In the Nerds commercial, they got a dude who looked just like Jeffrey Epstein eating candy with children running around in his background. In the Pringles commercial, Sabrina Carpenter had a boyfriend who was made out of Pringles. Suddenly he dies and then everyone just starts eating him. This shocks Sabrina Carpenter until she gets a bite for herself. Then she made a face like, oh, it's really not that bad. They trying to tell us don't knock it until you try it, bro. Eat people, gang. In the Alexa commercial, Chris Hemsworth was telling his wife how he was scared about the AI and she was just telling him that he was crazy. And then the AI suggested to give him a back massage and then everything was good. Like that was it. It's like they're telling us we're doing too much about the AI. Now comment down below, am I thinking too deep into this or are they doing this on purpose, gang?
You are being watched. That's not good.
The sky is a one-way mirror. We're looking at our own reflection, but they are looking at us. A 2nd century Gnostic master mapped the entire prison architecture above us, and what he found makes the Matrix look like a children's story. Oh yeah, and if you're interested in learning more about Gnosticism and other mystery traditions like Rosicrucianism, Kabbalah, or Hermeticism, make sure to click the link in my bio and request some information because the doors to the inner sanctum are opening for a limited time very soon. So if you're interested, click the link. And now that you're excited, let's talk about who's behind all this. His name is Basilides, and he was a Gnostic teacher operating in Alexandria, Egypt around 120 AD. He claimed to have received secret teachings directly from the Apostle Peter's interpreter. What he taught was so threatening to early Christianity that the church fathers dedicated entire volumes just to refuting him. He taught that reality isn't one creation. It's actually 365 nested heavens, each one a layer of the cosmic architecture, and each one ruled by its own angelic power called an archon, and we live at the very bottom. Wait, did you just say 365 heavens? That's right. Each heaven is a discrete reality, its own atmosphere, its own rulers, and its own vibrational frequency. Think of them less like floors in a building and more like nested shells, where each one contains everything below it, and each one is invisible to the layer beneath. The number 365 was deeply intentional too. It mirrored the solar year, encoding the radical idea that time itself is an architectural feature of the prison. The calendar that you live by, the cycle of days that structures your entire existence, was built into the cage by the beings who constructed it. You're literally marking time on a clock that your captors installed. Now, Basilides taught that each heaven was populated by its own hierarchy of angels and powers, 365 distinct angelic nations, each one sovereign within its layer, and each one completely unaware of what exists above its own ceiling. The ignorance wasn't just at the bottom, it was structural, built into every single level. Okay, so we're at the bottom. Are we trapped here? Can we move up? Now, this is where Basilides gets extraordinarily specific and extraordinarily dangerous to institutional religion at the same time. Each archon governing a heaven demands a toll. Not gold, not a sacrifice, but a name. A specific secret name, what Basilides called a mystery word, that corresponds to the layer's ruling power. These weren't metaphors, they were understood as literal vibrational keys, sonic codes that when known and spoken correctly, compelled the archon to step aside and allow the soul to pass upward. The soul ascending through the heavens after death was essentially navigating a cosmic checkpoint system. At each gate, the archon tests the soul. Do you carry the knowledge of this layer? Do you know my name? Do you know your own origin? A soul saturated in gnosis carries these passwords encoded in its very nature. It doesn't fight the archons, it simply renders them powerless by knowing what they are. A soul without gnosis gets turned back, reprocessed, and returned to the bottom floor. Reincarnated, the cycle then continues until the knowing is complete. Okay, fair enough, but what's all this demiurge talk? Well, at the very bottom sits the being that Basilides called the Great Archon, the ruler of our material world. He constructed physical existence genuinely believing himself to be the supreme god. He has no knowledge of the 364 heavens above him. He issues commandments, demands worship, and governs with total confidence from a position of total ignorance. Sound familiar?
Theories that LeBron hasn't retired yet just because they sacrifice all their players after.
Oh.
Yeah, and like that one, like it's tricky, right? So I seen something where they named King James, like that's his nickname, right? But there's a real King James, and when they won the championship in Cleveland on June 19th, that's when the real King James was born. And in the bubble when they won the championship, after the day Kobe died and his daughter died, it was Father-Daughter Day. On Father-Daughter Day. Yes, and they won by 13 points. Kobe was a 13th pick in the draft.
Now, okay, who's making these days?
Behind the scenes, this is all just like your favorite game is all planned.
I don't know what the heck is going on in the world right now, but if you instruct kids to paint a mural of the god of child sacrifice, this is just something that can't go unnoticed. This is a story that's trending all over X right now, and this is what it says. This is a school wall mural of Moloch, a satanic demon from Jenks Middle School in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. This mural was painted by children with guidance from a teacher and approval from an administrator. Moloch is the demon of child sacrifice. Jenks Middle School was and still is under the control of Angelica Infante Green, who is tasked with improving academic outcomes in Rhode Island. When parents complained, thank God the mural was painted over. And Pawtucket, Rhode Island probably sounds familiar to you if you've been watching some of my videos, because 2 days ago, a transgender person killed 3 people, including his son and his wife. And just take a look at the headline of the New York Post. It literally says, crazed Rhode Island hockey gunman had demons, alienated from family well before he became trans. It's very apparent that right now the spiritual warfare is alive and well, so just make sure you stay prayed up, because the headlines every single day are just bizarre.
Them having a child sacrifice god in a middle school was crazy. I wonder what the thought was behind that, because if that was intentional, then that has a lot to say about the middle school. But if it was just like, I guess for show, then I guess it's cool. But let me know you guys' thoughts about that.